All right, so there is a quorum present, so we will go ahead and do an
Can you give me
official
one of those?
meeting call to order with a roll call.
Oh, no, I don't need that. I thought it was agenda.
Terry Werner,
Here,
Mayor Pro Tem Matthew McConaughey,
I'm here.
thank you.
Lori Domingo, Domingo, Mike McLeod. Might he be on Zoom? I'm not sure.
He's not.
Sam Houston Clinton.
Here.
Excellent.
So he'd be absent, right, for the.
Yes. Lori and Mike, yes. And, moving. Good, perfect, great, perfect. All right, so this is our third city flood planning and mitigation meeting. We need to review the draft goals for the Caldwell County Hazard Mitigation Plan that have been created so far and discuss what priorities people have for flooding emergencies. I'll kind of update you on what we've been doing to get ready. And then if you are interested in signing up as a community volunteer, please feel free. We'll just keep that as a running sign up opportunity. So, in terms of the first one, the Caldwell County Hazard Mitigation Plan, that is dun. All right, so we need to start with go okay. No, go down. Let's start with go up to the one that said that one. Is that the right one? No. Go back. I can put them in order. It should be words. So maybe that. One more. Oh, that would be the one. Okay, so if you will go down to the third one, number 3 is
Just gonna turn.
no, that's fine. Number 3 is our current, well, our past, the previous 5 years mitigation action survey. If you will click on that, that will take us to the survey itself that lists what our prior goals were and asks us, okay, do core team member, and then go down.
Is this on the web?
Yes,
Can you email me the link so I can see it? Or is it off the web page?
it's off of a web page, but yeah, send that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, you could email it to all of us if you want. That'd be nice.
But anyway, I
Okay, so do review previous mitigation actions. Click here. Okay, and then do City of Martindale. Gracias. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is for City of Martindale, please indicate the status of the mitigation actions. These are actions that we did for the last 5-year plan. So we need to decide if they were met or if they're ongoing or if we have decided we don't want to do it. Or if we want to carry it forward or if we don't know. So 5 years ago, I was not part of this group and I do not know exactly where we were with these things. Some of them I can read and tell. Deanna and I gave our best input to them at our last meeting, but I told them I would rather come back and discuss it with people and find out from everyone. Maybe other people have better knowledge of it than I do. So action 1, implement education and awareness program utilizing media, social media, bulletins, flyers, etc. to educate citizens of hazards that can threaten the area and mitigation measures to reduce injuries, fatalities, and property damages. People who live here, do you feel like that was done? Do you feel like it's ongoing? Do you feel like we didn't really do it?
I don't think we've done that.
Okay, so would we want to say then, we're gonna cancel it, no progress, no future implementation, or ongoing?
Yeah, ongoing.
It needs to be done.
Okay, or we could do continue, no progress, plan for future.
Yeah, cause
That's about right.
there's not any progress.
Okay, so let's leave that one as no progress, plan for future implementation, cool. Then, move down to the next one, acquire and install generator. Oh, Chief, you already, I think, kind of told me this one. Acquire and install generators with hardwired quick connects at all critical facilities. That one, we have a small generator that was purchased, but it's in the shed. It has not been properly maintained, like started every month or whatever you have to do to keep them working properly. Stop mowing it.
I'm trying to read.
And the other problem is apparently it is not the right capacity for us to use at City Hall. So, Chief, do you want to just kind of share what your thoughts were about that?
Yes, ma'am. My thoughts are that we propose that we get a grant or try to get a grant that would give a big enough generator that would power this entire side of the building, these buildings. That way we can use, we can get with persons that own these buildings down here and see if we can use these as emergency shelters, warming shelters and so forth. Right now, currently, we contact the Three Rivers Church and they graciously allow us to use their facility if we need something. But if the power goes out, we're not gonna have power there either. So if we're able to get a propane style generator here that auto runs itself and everything, it does all the maintenance by itself, it'll kick on monthly and do its own service checks. Then we can have that. We will have this whole side of the facility we can use for emergency management or whatever we need to do. We have an evacuation shelter. Plus, it'll power all of our city services, our servers and everything, so we can get messages out to everyone. Our internet won't go down.
And we were thinking too, we could also set up computer stations so that people could start filing FEMA applications or whatever paperwork they need to be able to access.
Well, what size do we need?
So, I don't know, I would have to get with, first, it's gonna take some communication with other people that own parts of this building, right? It'll take some communication there and probably some agreements that we would have to get. And then I get with Blue Bonnet to see exactly what size that this building would take.
Would you do it in 2 stages, just do the city offices as option 1 and then the whole building?
I don't think so. I think do this entire,
I mean, I think that's a great goal, you know, but, you know, just as a backup, we still need.
but that would still do us no good if we have power goes out, like we had to freeze the other night.
Yeah.
Had power gone, knock on wood, we didn't have no issues. But had the power gone out, where would we have really taken someone? Everybody's gonna go to the church or call in to say, hey, can you open up the church?
Yeah, I mean, this is the limited space, I guess, I understand, I mean, your goal is lofty and smart, you know, don't get me wrong, but, and to go on this, you talk about the money, aren't we making recommendations or requests through this process to the county for solutions, and would this not fall into, you know where I'm going with it, requesting some of these things that we need,
So,
and we get it from them through the grant?
yes and no.
Okay,
The way that it works is that any of the things that we are planning to fund by grants, particularly FEMA grants or Texas Water Development Board grants, who they're the ones that have been tasked with by the governor with dealing with flood related monies. Those things have to, like, are required to appear in this plan. So we can't request money from FEMA or the Texas Water Development Board unless the goal is here, but it's also not an automatic. We still have to go out and write the grant.
Okay, so the grant that we are currently doing this project under includes no funding other than the plan.
Yes,
Okay, that's what I.
correct.
I kind of was figuring that, but I just want
Mhm.
to clear that box up.
Yes,
So-
yeah. But like, if we decide to do something different than whatever, like if, let's say we work really hard on this and we still end up, like, we forgot something major that we feel like needs to be part of this plan for the next 5 years, we can go and amend our plan,
Yeah.
but you can't submit money for emergency preparations unless it's in the plan. So we would have to like add to our plan and change our goal. But yeah, so there you have it. So yes, we can set an ambitious goal and then do ongoing. Some progress is made. We got the first 2 buildings done and not all of them. And see if we can get all of the entire side done. And if we don't, worst case scenario, you just continue the goal into the next plan cycle.
One thing I would say about that would entail probably adding another generator, so we'd have to remove one that we put in to put in a second generator.
That's the point.
Yeah, so it would be best to go in at one
The
time.
biggest.
Because the biggest cost of that is really not the generator itself, it's the transfer switch that transfers all the electricity to all the things, so that is
Yeah, there's a shut off control valve. that
correct.
You have to put in that turns off the blue bonnet power and turns on the generator. That switch is, I looked at it for the house, it's a.
Yeah, that's the
That's
most important
expensive.
part.
Yeah.
And so you wouldn't wanna try to separate all that and try to do those in different stages. I mean, I guess if we all had generators back here, it would be great, but it would probably be best just to do one big one, one big transfer switch, and then do it all.
Well, I like the idea of doing it on propane, you would auto cycle.
Correct.
We wouldn't have all this fuel issue that we're concerned about at this point.
Yes.
We wouldn't have to maintain it ourselves. It would be automatic.
Well, the propane is much better with regard to that issue, you know.
So when we get finished with this, with the current progress, we'll add that one to our current year goal. So for acquire and install generators, if with the hardwired quick connections, blah, 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 we would have to, I guess, say, yeah, the same one, continue, no progress, plan for future. Well, we did make progress, it's just not sufficient. Ongoing, some progress, we got a generator, it's just not appropriate to our use right now.
Well,
How does that count as progress?
It's no longer in the shed, it's been removed from the shed and taken to a small engine repair to get them to,
Oh, that's right.
Okay, so that's progress.
Yeah.
Some progress.
Yeah, I'd say ongoing, some progress.
But you had mentioned to me that you thought that since it's a smaller generator, that it would be more so suitable for the, say, Crockett lift station or something else. Because it's so limited that if the lift station, if the power goes out, then we could perhaps use it for the lift station or
so the
something.
mayor and I spoke to Pete about that, and Pete feels that that would be sufficient to run it temporarily if something were to happen. And so that's what we thought it'd be best used for right now,
Mhm,
instead of just setting back there that we didn't even know existed.
Right,
Honestly.
yeah.
And I hate to say that, but we didn't even know it was back there.
In that big old ice storm that we just had, for example, the brand new generator that we purchased through the grant that we had for the water treatment system, that generator went down and it was due to some kind of faulty switches or faulty electrical things.
This was at the plant, right?
It was at the Crockett lift station. And
Wait a
so
minute,
Pete had to
they
go.
just redid that electrical.
Yes, correct. That is the one. That's the one. It's all under warranty. They have ordered.
I'm sorry, I'm just.
I know.
Okay.
I know. And Pete stood out there in the freezing cold until like 1:00,000 at night, manually having to make everything function. So, yeah, so that's what gave us the idea that that generator would have been a great thing to have.
At the lift
In
station.
in the event that that
I'm
happens.
sorry, that we discussed this, I mean, even before you were on the council, it's like, I'm just dumbfounded that we have lift stations that do not have
Mhm.
backup
Mhm.
anything. I mean, we have two of them that do not have surge protection at all. I mean, you know that. You know, I mean, I'm like, when I've been there and I go, what do you mean, Pete? And I go looked at it and I went, are you? I mean, I've seen jerry rig things in barns that are safer than the one. I mean, I was like, you gotta be, there's no, there wasn't even a proper kill switch situation. It just was,
Mhm.
it was scary.
Mhm.
It was scary.
Yeah. So, yeah, everything from that lift station has been sent out for repair. It is under warranty. It should be okay. And we're just waiting now for the estimates and all of that to come back. The next goal was critical facilities to include drought mitigation measures and expansive soil. Expansive soils protection such as gray water reuse systems, drought tolerant landscaping, installation of a sprinkler system with regular watering schedule, and installation of French drains where high plasticity soils are indicated. I am not aware of any work on that. Are there people that I mean, were there plans before I got involved in anything?
No,
This was all the caveat of continuing with, you're trying to get people in to use the wastewater, gray water from the, doing zero discharge. That's kind of where the thought process was on that, but
well,
I've never seen it written quite this detailed, to be honest with you. I know Mike and I always talk about, we like to reuse the water, as a an ongoing repeated statement. But I've never seen it written like this. I mean, I'm all for drought tolerant landscaping. We lived in Vegas for 10 plus years. I can tell you that I know quite a lot about drought tolerant landscape.
Yeah.
There's no grass in the Vegas Valley unless it's on a golf course. It's basically.
And the French drains, I'm not aware of any that are anywhere on city-owned property. So
What does high plasticity soil mean?
Like, why are we not, okay, help me guys. A French installation of a French drain or high plasticity soil is indicated. How does a French drain help?
because the high plasticity soils don't absorb the water.
Oh,
So instead of
So it would
having it
just
just
sit.
sit there, it goes through the drain system,
Plasticity soils.
like very high clay density.
Gotcha.
and where are those indicated?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, like where they're indicated, where are high plasticity?
They would be
Soils
indicated wherever we have high plasticity soils. that's
Okay,
where
so
they
it's
would be
not like
indicated.
it's required in certain places, they're just saying where.
Right, they're just saying wherever we have them, we
Okay.
should try doing that to drain the water better.
Okay,
but
So-
even so, like in the whole city, there really are no drains and no curbs, not many drains to speak of. So, I mean, if we're talking about French drains, that's more of like a smaller scale of, say, potential pathways that would say be from one potential site where we would have people in a flood that would say walk to another location perhaps. I mean, a French drain is more of a smaller scale. I mean, and so I would think that it would more so have to do maybe when you're accommodating foot traffic in a disaster, say,
I don't think so. I think probably things like that are indicated, because they're also talking about drought mitigation. So it's not just during the emergency itself.
Yes.
It's talking more about ways that the city can work on drainage issues altogether, so that even during heavy rains, when you may not have a flood, it will still promote drainage
Mm,
and
I'm doing research on what this
Okay.
is, cause glad you said it, 'cause I'm
My question is, okay, so update critical facilities, can we update, can you specify what are the critical facilities that would need these?
well, I cannot because I wasn't here when this was
No,
written.
I'm just,
I don't believe anyone in the city wrote this particular line. is what I'm
They
saying.
have to because no one else writes them.
I was in all these meetings and I don't remember, cause I don't believe that we have any soil, let me finish, Kirby. I don't think there's any soil in Martindale that qualifies for this black sludge called black gumbo, which caused severe foundation and roadway issues.
Mhm.
Does anyone have any further understanding of that beyond, you know,
Black
Well,
gumbo.
they
I mean-
refer to it as black gumbo, they're basically, it's in the Austin I-35 corridor, east side of Austin, is notorious for high plasticity soils,
Yeah.
particularly in the Circuit of the Americas area.
When we did, a few years ago, my mom was, looking at different options for housing here in the downtown area. And one of the things that we did was look at my back lot.
Yeah.
And try to figure out whether that might be an option for her to build on. So in order to do all of the city permits and all of the stuff, we had to have a soil study done.
Mhm.
And it came back as having high plasticity soil.
Wow, thank you.
mm. Yeah, I think the further you get away from I-35 and the rocky soil on the west side, and as he said, it's on the east side, I think a lot of the fields and the soils, even like around my house and yours, is gumbo soil. And so sometimes if it floods in the back of my house, it's really not from moving flooding waters. It's from water that can't drain off quickly
Stands.
enough from areas where it's all flat or it comes off my roof and then it just sits there and then it just builds up and doesn't drain. And then it floods my house because of the gumbo soil. So that's what everyone says to me. You need French drains. You need French drains, and it won't flood the back of your
So this
house.
is supposed to be only referencing critical structures. Thank you, Sam, for bringing that up.
Yeah.
So the critical structures that we normally talk about this are the sewer and the city offices,
Yeah.
right? So are we talking about doing some type of French drains around?
Our
that?
lift stations would
Yeah.
also be included
Yeah.
in that.
Or-
And if you think about, at least which one is it called? The lift station that's, off of Northwest River Road,
Madison?
Madison.
Yeah.
That whole lot is that way. When it's really rainy, remember, I think it was the mayor and I went out, in her car to go look at that lift station and we got stuck and you and Mike had to come in.
The problem with that area is there is, and that's what I think they're talking about. There is not the drain area is actually on, the property next door. It goes through the schoolhouse property and it digs through their driveway and destroys that driveway. Yes, I wish there was a French drain because that is actually, while you got stuck, it's like on a plateau. And you actually go up and then you come down to the street. It's actually a higher elevation there. When you get in that back, it's like a puddle in that area and it's quite large. So
Yeah.
if that, I think that's what they would be, that's the only thing I can think of they were talking about is stuff like that. Cause I was at these, I don't remember specifically
And
talking
that
about
makes
this.
sense. That makes a lot more sense. I don't understand the installation of the sprinkler system.
That's for the drought mitigation.
There's two parts of this.
Yeah, it's all in one thing, so yeah, okay.
Well, you and we all have talked about a drip system for the parks, because in the drought years, it doesn't get water. And so, I mean, there's areas in our park system, but we really don't have much, critical landscaping even on our main street here. I know on the Facebook page, they were talking about the hillside going down to the low water crossing on the right side where they cut all those trees down. But I would like to see more work put into, say, our parks or, because hardly anyone walks down that road. I would like to see some drought resistant plants, some drip irrigation at Guardiola Park or our parks. I mean, we can identify these places, but it comes down to grants, basically, pretty much. I mean, well, except in the parks, we could use our park mobile money for those kinds of things in our parks, I guess, but.
About this specifically in your idea, I think we need to look at how, okay, so I'm looking at two different things. So looking at erosion, I mean, that's definitely, we already have that problem in our parks, erosion and the need for that. But go back to what this says, critical facilities.
Yeah, how does this relate to the flood mitigation of our critical facilities? I'm getting off topic slightly.
No, I mean, no,
Station. I mean, when not Seneschal said the one about Maxwell, like, oh my gosh, yes, that is that whole area.
so we're,
That needs-
let's just say, we're not gonna cancel this one, is what I guess now that we know roughly what we're
What it
talking
is.
about.
We need it.
Okay, so then, can you scoot back up so we can see the categories?
So I'm gonna do the middle one again, no progress. We
Okay.
really haven't done any, right?
Mhm.
Other than identify,
Continue, no progress, plan for future implementation. Okay, go ahead and click that one then. Nope, next one over. Thank you. And then scoot on down to number 4. Harden or retrofit critical facilities to hazard resistant levels. Your guess is as good as mine about what that means.
Retrofit critical to hazard resistant levels.
I don't know what the hazard resistant levels means.
What is harden? I mean,
Throw some time.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all finish those paper classes, it'll explain levels of the,
Cool. Cool.
To reinforce the structure.
if I can't understand this crap, I may not be able to understand those FEMA trainings.
So for
I'm
that
gonna need
one,
some more incentive.
in the interest of time, I would say
First.
we probably should just mark that one as no progress, do not continue until we figure out
What
what,
it means.
whether or not we wanna do it in the future. We do have other goals to consider, so no.
But these are critical facilities.
All the way to the left.
These are critical.
Yeah, so all of it has to do with critical facilities. But what are we retrofitting and hardening?
Let's come back to that. Put a pin in it. We have a lot to get through,
How many of these are there?
like 9.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then complete updated soil survey for the entire county. That would mean that we're only doing our portion, the city and the ETJ. So we did not do any of that I know of, but we should, if we were going to do that, it would either have to be no progress, continue, or no progress, don't continue.
I think I've seen areas of soil studies that have been done throughout the county where they describe what type of soil is there. There's books on that. And so if we did research, say in the county ag department or something, you can find where these alluvial soils are, where the clay soils are, and all that, because we do have a bit of gravel, say closer to the river, but then we've got a high density of like a limestone shelf. I mean, you might think that with the clay soil that it's fairly deep, but even over where my place is closer to the river, you dig down about a couple of feet and then you hit that hard limestone rock there.
Well,
So
and is it update? Like, is that survey like updated? Because it's saying complete an updated soil survey. So do you know how recent that soil survey is?
no, but I don't think it would have changed much, you know.
I don't know either. I don't think it would, but maybe they
They
put
wouldn't
something
have-
over it.
They're talking about an updated one, so even if it didn't change much, they still wanted it updated.
Updated soil survey, okay, maybe I can look into that soil survey of the city.
Like how old it is.
Just change the date.
There you go.
All that. Cheater, cheater, buccaneer.
The good thing, but is it critical?
I don't know, but it's not even asking, is it critical? It's just asking, did we do it?
Okay. No future.
I would say cancel, no progress. But we can
Cancel
come back
or
and change it.
proceed?
And we
I
can't,
think
I
that's-
really don't wanna cancel the number 4, to be honest with you. The one before that, I don't,
Mhm.
Since we don't really know what,
I don't know what it, I
It
don't wanna
means-
cancel it.
I
Can we
know, it
change
could be
that?
someone.
Plan future, we would have to plan it, because we don't have it. Plan.
Continuing on progress, plan for future.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not real big on.
Ditto, can you put a little ditto?
And then number 6, upgrade undersized storm, go down. Oh. Upgrade undersized stormwater drains and culverts. We talked about doing that just with that one neighborhood, the Riverview neighborhood, and decided it was too expensive and we didn't want to do it. Just a reminder of conversations we've had about that in the past. Do we want to do that? Do we not want to do that? I don't care. I'm just asking, are we going to actually invest in that?
Well, that's the Northwest River Road project, was to work on the culverts,
Mm-hmm.
so.
But that's canceled, so.
Yeah,
Well,
do
we're
we
on number
want
2.
to Work on that or we don't? It's the one above that, Deanna, it's 6.
no,
Whatever happened to that grant where we talked about flooding and we met and we looked at those maps and then they were gonna give us more information and get information from people and.
Okay.
They sent out the reports for those. We have all of those. They went
Okay.
to your email address, so you should check in your email.
Uh,
And they, did summarize everything that we discussed and they talked about different actions that we could take at the city or at the county level to, deal with potential flooding, like changing building standards, creating stormwater standards, upgrading, things like that.
okay, so we have that information, but. Cause yeah, I went to that, again,
If you went to it, you probably did get the report, so you could go back and check.
that's okay, But a big thing about it is like, and this is what we talked about, and I can't remember the young lady's name who we talked to us when we went to.
Sure.
We went to, yeah, was grants.
Well, that's what, this is the precursor for it, so that's why we're doing this. You wanna keep this as an attention, an item of attention
Yeah.
that we still care about. That's all does that pretty much sum up what we're doing, Mary?
Correct?
Yeah,
So do we still care about that? Yes.
sorry, I care about it.
So then, do we wanna say plan for future implementation? Cause we really haven't done anything
That's
about it.
correct. Yep.
Mhm.
So we get to something we've done really good at so far.
Right there.
Feeling a little bit of a
Then
failure.
number 7, acquire and install fixed barriers and warning lights at high flood hazard roadways.
Hello. Warning lights at high flood hazard
Are
roadways.
you kind of doing that?
Did we already do that?
We did.
Yeah.
So with one, if y'all go over to Johnson Street, that is complete. He will finish the other 2 at, Johnson Street's, I gotta just buy some locks tomorrow. But Johnson Street is complete and installed. The 2 at Skull are gonna be done this week.
So we can knock that one off. that we
Well,
really did.
warning lights. We don't have warning lights, is that
I mean,
something that we need to have?
I
No,
don't
it's up to
know.
us.
Okay.
We only have to ask ourselves whether or not we're done with it or whether we wanna continue working on it.
The only thing I could do to put warning lights on there is buy those, type that go on to the, you see the A-frame barriers that go out and they have the little yellow flashing light.
Mhm.
I could probably buy some of those and put on there and go over and turn those on.
Well, where else do we have, I mean, we're talking about just that one, where else in town do we, I mean, I know the S curve has a problem, but do we have any other issues with any other neighborhoods? As far as the, flooding with regard to them getting locked in? I know Plains has trouble, but they should know in advance.
Yeah, so really, very rarely, they only have trouble because it's mud. There's turns to mud.
Yeah.
That's basically that. The same with the dip right there, you can still traverse through it, you can drive through it still. Even around both S curves, you can still drive through them.
What
What
other,
about the diversion?
Southeast Road floods.
yeah, that's
From
exactly what I'm
1979 going down to,
Flood in the city portion, it floods, further up in the county portion, and the county already put in There are barriers there.
on Morrison Creek.
Well, I mean, in 2015, Southeast River Road flooded from 1979 to Cemetery Road, almost to Bella Vista. All of that was beneath water, and so they couldn't get out very well at Bella Vista.
But this revolves on barriers or lights. Where would you put a
We
barrier or
we
light up?
need lights. I mean, if you just had some on sawhorses, I mean, we could put them down there too. But
So here's what would happen if, we would have to, so that's a state road, so the tech stop would come in and put any barriers that we have there, dated on 1979. And so they would have to put them way down on 1979 on the other end at 621.
Yeah.
And then they would come in and put them at 80 and 1979. So those would be tech stop responsibility. We have some barriers barricades for our stuff, but the rest of that would be tech stops, and not trying to pass the buck on them, but that's their responsibility, that's their roadway.
So then we need to be communicating with them about
They're
what
aware.
is needed.
Yeah, they're aware. So what happens in a situation just like the other night with ice, they're out working and we would just call them and say, hey, we're underwater now. Can you send your road crew over with some signs?
Okay,
The same when we had this big windstorm recently, when the tree went down, I call them up and say, hey, text out, I got a tree on the roadway. They send out a road crew right now.
Okay.
So there any other high flood hazard roadways that we need signage for? I mean, I don't think of any, but
I can't think of any other than what we've already done, and we have barricades out here for anything that we can move quick that we would need to put them up. So we already have all that stuff in place.
so I think this was written prior to you doing, us taking.
But that's good, there's progress on one.
So this is progress.
so how do we wanna mark that one?
Is it done? Well, it's not done, but
It'll be done this week.
okay.
But, yeah, I know you gotta put that in, so I would make it say in progress at least.
Keep going down.
Not ongoing?
So well,
What does
No,
what
go
does
down
the
to
next one say?
that one says the second from the last is finished. That's finished what you're covering.
Oh, I see.
Station is finished.
No, but it will be, right?
The last one.
Finished.
Oh, okay.
If we're gonna have it finished next week, I would say finished, because we're not even meeting again before next.
I think that's true. I think that's true.
Okay, then debris removal, floods leave a significant amount of organic material such as trees, limbs, shrubs, blah, 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 and turn into a fire hazard over time. So do we feel like that was completed?
no, it hasn't been done. There's still debris in the Phase 2 park from the 2015 flood along the right side of where we have our little burn pile at the triangle there. There's still debris there from the 2015 flood, so we need to address that.
Is that the only location that you can think of that?
That still has debris, does.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not primary. It's
Yeah,
always.
that's and since that's perhaps a part of the park, well, it is, that we can maybe use some of the park mobile money to get a bid on someone with a skid steer that would push it into a pile.
Okay,
And but the lifting of the burn ban in these last few days was only for like 2 or 3 days, and it stops on the 18th.
For today.
Yeah, what?
It's over today.
Today.
Today was the last day, so that wasn't long enough.
Well,
But
we need to burn this through.
yeah, so we need to. Maybe we can get and talk to the volunteer fire department and see about burning that stuff there at the triangle. So let's call that, we're working on it.
okay. So continue, I think it's the second one. Plan on finishing? Or the
Yeah.
next one, we
No,
did not
I'm
work on it.
I'm good with planning on finishing. I think we have
Okay.
we're planning on it.
Mhm.
Sam seems to be.
Yeah, and maybe between you and me and the volunteer fire department, we can.
If we wanna do a burn, we let them know. They'll tell you when they're available.
Okay.
It's been weird.
Oh, who?
I gotta call CC.
Yeah.
When we do our.
I keep thinking she's
She's not getting paid.
Yeah, yearly, yeah, so they get a permit, you get a permit. it's good for a year. You just gotta still tell them you're doing it.
So,
But, well, real quick though, we did talk, or they did talk at the River Committee meeting today about the citywide cleanup in April around Earth Day. So it would be nice if we either pushed that pile or consolidated it before then, or tried to burn it before
I think we
then.
should try to get rid of it before then, cause that,
Well, we're gonna get more. too.
that's what I was gonna
Yes.
say, is it's so full. Just that weekend when people are bringing everything and we need room for all of the things.
I'll have to go over there with you, Sam.
I think we can push it in and consolidate it more, get somebody like Sean with his skid steer to sort of push it together before we do the citywide cleanup.
And then talking to the fire department and all.
Stop burning it.
Burning it.
Get the TCQ permit.
Mm-hmm.
TC, the first right there, you just gotta, you have to tell them.
Yeah, it's,
It's all good.
I don't know how long it takes to get that.
It's all, we already have it, I just gotta know about it now.
Oh, okay, so that could.
Yeah, make sure you grab some coffee or water or whatever if you need it. There's water in the other side. Acquire and distribute NOAA weather radios. I don't believe that was done. I found a pile of smoke alarms and a pile of batteries, but don't worry, none of the batteries are installed in our smoke alarms, so they're not taking up any. Apparently ours are just not even functional. I'm not really.
Well, that's better than hearing that really high pitched beat, because when one loses battery, they all lose battery.
Yeah, when they talk to each other, I know. So I haven't seen anything to do with NOAA weather radios. I know we've talked about maybe having the short-term rentals have to have one in their.
Do I need to do the FEMA training to know what a NOAA weather radio
No,
is?
It's a radio that
You can
What's it
download
stand
now.
for?
You can download the app on your phone too, by the way.
What does it stand for, NOAA?
National Oceanic.
an
Yes.
atmospheric.
Atmospheric Administration.
Mhm,
Oh,
mhm.
and how does that help us?
It tells you the most up-to-date weather information about like the flooding and
For your
the
area.
status of it for.
Because I get stuff from Caldwell County, is that what they use? But they text it, but I mean, like if that's the same kind of information?
So yes, it is. So what
Okay.
we talked about is people that would come here for a short-term rental,
Mhm.
sometimes this is a bad cell area. So
Oh,
your cellular service, so if you're from Houston or you're from wherever, Gilmore, Texas, your cell service may not work here, right? And it may not know that you're here, so he may not get a weather alert
Mhm.
here. But if you had a NOAA system and you staying in a bed, Airbnb here, you would get that NOAA, you would get that weather alert.
Okay, that makes sense.
Woo!
Good job.
So, out of all of those, this is just a summary and then we'll click submit. And then we can move on to this year's. And I can show you what Deanna and I drafted and someone else. It was more than just you and me, wasn't it? Oh, there was another woman there too. Okay, so then there's an Excel sheet that says on that email that says our. I should for sure. That's right. Mhm. And so there's a, I'm sorry. Yeah,
There's a bug in here.
okay, so then it would be Martindale draft mitigation. Yeah. And we made sure that, I think so. Spook, yeah. So we made sure you're allowed to, that you're allowed to change these, because we were like, well, this is great and all, but like, it would have been nice to have been able to bring these to the residents and the council before the meeting, just saying. So I have ours and for the cities, and we can change any of these we want to. And then I also was able to get a copy of the ones the fire department makes a separate one.
Yeah.
And the water department the water company makes a separate one. The water people have not yet created theirs, but I do have the fire departments. So that we don't, because I didn't want us to accidentally make ones that were the same as someone else was recommending. We should split it all
Can
out.
you email it?
Yes,
I can see that part.
you could just forward that whole email. Why don't you do that? That would be better.
Cause I've seen the fire.
So we kind of basically carried over the upgrade undersized stormwater drains and culverts. We had to include which kinds of hazards that was intended to assist with, because it's supposed to be one that deals with all the hazards and not just only a flood. We didn't do very many that we felt like earthquake was involved because,
Let's hope not.
then responsible departments, we put down city administrator for most of these because I know Greg was really dying to get started with it. Just kidding. Because that's what they had used the city administrator on last year's. So we kind of just carried that forward, that would be regardless of which council members or mayor or whoever was working here, your city administrator is usually constant. So we figured that would be the best person to put as the responsible one to monitor progress. And then an estimated cost, I really don't know that. They had a woman there that was with Langford is doing the like leading all of the meetings. And so they had a person from Langford that sat with us or that sat with the fire department or whoever was making the goals and kind of gave us information as much as they were able to. So that's where some of these prices came from, because I don't really know. And I don't know how many undersized stormwater drains. I mean, I knew the ones on Northwest River Road, but I don't know the other ones.
That was what I was gonna ask, is that something that we can identify in our city, like which ones, even if we could?
Yes, it is, because one of the things that I have been asking for is if there's any volunteers for like in the emergency, like while it's happening, and we have 2 volunteers so far to do that. They would work through Tommy so that like somebody is stationed at the evacuation point to like check off names and make sure who's checked in and who's missing and all of that. And do we know how to reach you later and whatever. But then we also need a group that will do things like take a Saturday walk, check out like on this road, what kind of culverts are there? Are they full of leaves and branches that need to get cleared out because they're not going to drain the water? Or like whatever. That group could also be responsible for making an appointment with the engineers to find the ones that are already in our maps, so that you could just go and check on those and see and report back so that we know, okay, these are the ones that need to be cleared out. These are the ones that need to be bigger. And some of that information I think will be in paperwork, like from the engineers. And then other information, it might just be that we have to look at it and see.
I could do the walking and looking at it.
Yeah, and then it's just like making recommendations, like these look good or these look bad or whatever. That's what that group is supposed to do. And then we can write a grant to figure out how we're gonna deal with that. And I think the engineers would be the ones that would have to do it, so we would need a grant to do it. You're not gonna be out there digging culverts, don't worry. It's just some more eyes, some more people to like figure out some of this.
Right.
So right now we don't know.
Okay.
But it would be part of the planning process, I guess, to figure out.
Well, I know that I have heard a little bit about Butterfly Meadows, how they have that field in the back.
Mhm.
And it floods from that field coming to the backyards
What
of
is
the
that?
houses there.
A moth.
And so maybe that would be someplace where you could start on in
Oh, 'cause that would be
your
close to your
in her neighborhood there.
Mhm.
The work that they've done recently on Quail Run at Northwest Road, that is gonna help that whole culvert there along Northwest Road, along Quail Run, as it goes underneath 80 and along Quail Run and
Yeah, when we
into
were
the
walking
river.
along, doing track, we were picking up trash on Sunday, we saw several of the culverts. The worst place was like where you turn onto Quail Run, there was like car parts. There must have been like a
Mm.
jillion crashes there. I think we could build an entire bus.
Nice.
With all the
We might need
parts.
one for evacuation.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So-
there's some culverts beneath there
Mhm.
that, you know, get all that water off the field, so that would be one that. we
There's one on
could-
both sides.
I was very impressed. Randy gave me a personalized tour through Martindale as well as San Marcos, where we went and looked at all the different types of culverts and like why this one is better suited for that area versus this
Mhm.
design versus that thing. And it was so freaking informative. I had no idea about culverts until then, because why would I? But it really was so helpful. So I am now a culvert connoisseur, a connoisseur of fine
So which one's the
culvert
best?
activity. It depends
Oh.
on what the land is like around it. Like one of the ones he showed me that he really likes
Mhm.
for its situation. Next time you're on 21, right off of 80, you know, there's that colorful neighborhood of cute little houses.
Mhm.
So, right, on the side of 21, there's a big field and it's kind of like depressed,
Mhm.
not sad. It would be happy because I think kids play there, like soccer and stuff. But it has big old culverts and they have these like, concrete posts here and there.
Mhm.
And it's to stop stuff, like big tree branches and things.
Okay.
So, he was saying the depressed thing, the culvert drains into this depressed thing. And then all the water can swirl around in there, but it stays there
Okay.
and keeps it out of the streets in the neighborhood.
Mhm.
And then any tree branches or large objects that end up going through the culvert, get knocked aside by the big old
Barriers.
yes, those, the barriers. So,
Alrighty.
anyhow, that was a good one. That was a good one. But then, like, we were looking at the one that you were just mentioning, Sam, across from wherever that is.
Butterflies.
No, across from Northwest River Road, the new, the Lanzola neighborhood.
Quail Run.
That one, the
Yeah.
Quail Run one. And he was saying he has a few concerns that it doesn't go, that it's not trenched
Yes,
far enough to the water.
yes.
And also that they had thrown a bunch of rocks in, which you're supposed to do. But then that all of the velocity of the water that will come through there, because there's so much water that will come through there, that the rocks will just get carried into the river.
Mhm.
So then we got the company to come back out and concrete the rocks down better so that they
Not mobile.
are there, but they won't get swept through. But because of whatever the agreement was that they had already made with the city, whenever they did their development agreement, they had already exceeded the expectations of like whatever our ordinances say and whatever the state stuff is. So we could not ask them to go back and retrench deeper. But the rest of it, they were able to negotiate getting fixed better. And it went back, Gary Freeland was explaining to me how it went back to that whole thing that Mike had tried to negotiate with them. Like it all tied together with all of that, which I remembered, but not, like I wasn't
Well, and then here's
in deep about it.
Yeah, that whole corner,
Yeah.
yeah, that was not, that whole corner is, if you go look at it now, I was not in council when I was like very ticked off when that happened because the way they designed it is we never got the proper turn. In that corner, if you could go look at it, that stop sign is gone again. And we were walking the dog on Sunday and someone she's on the phone and she made the right and she's over the curb. And I'm like, I don't know how an engineer.
Steve has a new plan.
I don't know how
Plan number
how it got
500.
approved as a subdivision approval, to be honest with you, that's my.
Well, even before the subdivision though, it was a bad curve there.
I know, but when they made the subdivision, they should have fixed it. They should have been, I don't understand why you get fixed then.
We have an agreement and with them to fix it, but is the agreement to maintain it? Because already.
They have a 2-year window where they, and there's a 2-year
Oh, never
guarantee
mind.
basically.
It went off, but it's back.
doing that, no, that's normal wear and tear.
Yes, no, they have to maintain it for the next 2 years.
They have to guarantee, so like when they did the cross over the road to put the sewer line in,
Yeah.
it has to last for 2 years, otherwise they gotta come back and fix it.
Okay, so there is that.
That's the warranty, they're
Okay.
required for the warranty. After that, it becomes,
Our problem.
But we're still in that 2-year window where they could fix. it.
Yes, no, it just started. It just started.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah, before
that's not gonna fix
2 years in here.
that's not fixing the
It's a
border.
bad design.
Okay, chief,
Sorry.
what is your thought?
So the law allows for some changes, and we're gonna do that when we install the new signs. So what the law allows for is for the stop sign to be at least 50 feet away from the intersection, actually. So we're gonna move the stop sign backwards, so that, or back towards 80, and install the stop sign, but we're gonna go a step further, and we're gonna put a stop line
That's right.
across the ground, the white stripe, the big white stripe, so you have to stop there. And then, depending if we have enough money to go back and buy some additional signs, what we'll put is a sign across the way on that barricade that says stop at designated point. So there's no doubt that no one knows that, hey, this is where you have to stop.
Yeah, even if it were to get knocked down again, you would still have it painted on and hopefully still be on the barricade across the
Yes.
way, so.
And so those white stripes are easy, you just buy them and you take a pear burner and just melt it to the
Yeah,
bone.
And 6-foot letters.
Oh, yeah,
8
you
foot
put on
letters.
some big letters, that are 6 foot that say stop. And so, and-
6 foot?
That's the requirement. That's the size it has
So
to
now
be.
here, when you're driving along and people that, probably can't see well because it's laid flat.
Why are you looking at me when you say that?
You'll be able to- Yeah, you'll be able to see the letters from a distance and it won't be just so small that you won't be able to feel the white line.
I probably could see that.
Okay, so then, acquire and install fixed barrier, oh no, we did that one. Oh no, we just copied that one over, so that one stayed on. And that one is the one we just decided was basically complete by next week, the second one. So we can just eliminate that one when we go back. We'll, get rid of it. X out line 4, okay. And then, the next one, debris removal, good, I'm glad we have that one because, y'all wanted to keep that one. So,
I can
phase,
see that now.
so we put down, the citywide cleanup and, phase 2 was open space at 1979 and Southeast River Road needed to be the prioritize the priority areas.
What did you just say about tree limbs before?
It says, organic matter such as tree limbs and, shrubs that reduce drainage capacity and turn into a fire hazard.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna mention that is that if you drive up 1979 towards 80 and there's a drainage ditch there on the left side, I mean, there are so many down trees there. I mean, I'm sure y'all
Yeah,
have all seen them. And some of them though are even along the Bluebonnet power lines. I don't know why Bluebonnet hasn't even cut those off. It looks like they started to cut it and then they just left the branches on the ground there
So where is that?
on 1979.
I did see that. I have seen that. I just wondered myself, like.
Okay, well, I think he knows something.
I already called TxDOT on those, there's actually 2 I called TxDOT on.
Okay.
It's, so Blue Bonnet's not messing with them because they're no longer in their power lines.
Oh, and they just cut them down.
Correct, so they're down below the power lines and they're
Yes.
back actually in TxDOT's easement, so I called them and said, there's another one on 80 that's, up there that's a tree down across in TxDOT's right away. So they, I called them on both of those.
Recently, how long has it
I
been?
called them a week or so, no, maybe 2 weeks.
Okay.
But, I mean, sometimes they put that with their mowing schedule,
Mhm.
that kind of maintenance, because it's not in.
Yeah, they just mowed
it's not
recently.
doing- Right, so it's not doing anything, so, it may be on their maintenance schedule.
Gotcha.
Okay, thank you.
And, wait, I thought I had, As a side issue that is not listed in there, but with your permission, I would consider it debris and I would like to work on getting grants to fix it. Under debris removal, we have a few different city-owned properties that still have dilapidated buildings on them, like for example, at Cemetery Road in 1979, where they were properties where they received a FEMA buyout, and as part of that buyout, I was recently told by GLO that the city assumed the responsibility to swear off that those houses were demolished and all of the debris remaining was hauled away. Somehow, I don't know how, because it was a long time ago, that did not happen on a few of our properties. So, apparently we cannot apply for money, to do that under regular grant opportunities, because in theory, we were already given money to do that. And it didn't happen. So I was asking them, like, those are true public safety hazards that are on the city in terms of liability if someone were to go exploring and get hurt. Or B, if we do have another flood, which I'm sure it's only a matter of time, and the debris washes downriver and causes damage to someone else's property, again, we'll be sued for that. And the GLO commissioner was saying she completely agreed, and that should be a priority for the city to get those demolished and moved on. So I was like, well, how are we gonna pay for that?
That's on Cemetery Road?
Yeah,
There's still a structure over there?
Mm-hmm, the show is,
So,
and it still has like clothes and little broken down pieces of furniture.
so it was demolished, but it was never.
If that one was not demolished even, it's falling down, it's
There's only
collapsing.
one, right? There's only
Yeah.
one left?
Mm-hmm,
Cause I know we took some down.
yeah, no, there is one left though, and
Yeah.
it's falling down on its own, but it needs to be like hauled off. But what she did tell me though, is that, late spring or early summer, the GLO is planning to have some of their mitigation funding available. She said they've had several projects that have now been completed and were completed under budget. So the remaining amount that was not spent from those projects that are completed will go into a pot, and they don't, to get that money, you don't have to meet the same criteria as you normally would. They can decide what criteria they want to put on that money, because it's not new money, it's old money. So we could apply to take down the dilapidated structures and haul away all of the waste and like clean up phase 2 and that kind of thing. So she is going to let me know as they get that funding together, and so that we will be at the ready to apply for that. So I was thinking we should put it with the debris removal so that it can all be applied for at one time and it's already in our plan. But is that something that
That's a great idea.
I think that sounds good.
okay.
Cause was it just somehow missed?
I have no, it was so long ago. I mean, it was 2015, I guess.
Wow.
I remember, no, I talked to Randy about that. There was a bunch of them that were acquired. And I've been down that road. I've never gone all the way down because it's pseudo private, it's a cemetery access. That's it. I mean, I don't know if you've been down there, Sam. I've only gone a couple feet.
Well, most of the properties that the city acquired in the FEMA buyout along Cemetery Road were actually on Southeast River Road itself, say closer to the road. And that one structure that you're speaking about is almost further in to maybe even possibly past the FEMA buyout properties. But I don't know if we could also include in that GLO grant to fix the sewer line on Southeast Road that is crushed as a result of them tearing down all those homes. Because that's what Pete has said repeatedly, is that we're getting a lot of infiltration from the rain in those sewer lines there, and it goes back to the manhole that goes to the Crockett lift station. So we're getting a lot of infiltration of rainwater, and that's why the amount of water that goes through the lift station is almost so much higher during a storm event, because it's going into that crushed sewer line all along Southeast Road, from Owl Hollow, Southeast Road, and Cemetery Road. And they, and I've talked to the city about that, and they say, well, the city has told me before, well, we don't even want to fix that until somebody along Southeast Road wants a sewer line.
When you say the city, do you mean the water company?
No, it's a city thing. It's a
So who
city.
did you talk to at the city about it?
Catherine about that before, and no, Jared and I spoke about it,
Okay,
Because the city doesn't own that.
my land, and there's no sewer line.
This is the city, the cities are all these other ones.
Yeah.
so the city doesn't own that.
I don't think there's two of them here that are not the city. I believe, I'm very confident that it is not city land.
Okay.
I believe that's.
Is it
Maybe that's
further
why I
down
wasn't covered.
No,
Cemetery Road?
it's right here. Here's the cat. We looked these up. There's the property right there. There's the building.
There's
That is
one
owned by
on,
someone.
That's what I was thinking.
You know the- on the way down
Absolutely right.
Main
These are all
Street, when
city.
you
We have to
turn
do it.
onto the
We
part
have
of
to go
79
to
that
the
like,
point.
between the two parks.
Don't own
Yeah,
this one.
there's
This-
one over there.
We don't own those. That's homes. Homes do that one.
It's
The
mostly
city
washed
owns those.
away, but
Which
it
which
still
one
has
is
like
Mike on?
two of the
This one
four
right here.
walls or something.
He owns obviously all this property here.
Yeah.
So that dilapidated structure is not on city property.
Yeah.
Is it
It's-
on Mike's
I forget
property or
what it
city
No.
property?
No, it's on someone else's property.
It would have been phase 3 or something.
Okay.
No, wait, phase 1, yeah, I think it's in phase 3. What?
Is it close to the brick, that brick one, that house that?
Across from it, across the street from it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So that might be why it wasn't covered under the grant, if it wasn't in the city.
It's in the city.
It's in the city, tree, cemetery,
No, that's a different one.
are you talking about the one over there?
Yeah.
That's in the city.
So
Yeah,
you're
it's
talking
right
about
inside
a
the
different one.
I'm talking about store, which one are you guys talking about right now? I'm sorry, you guys jump to the next one, I was just showing Sam
That
there.
was me, sorry.
That's all right.
Which one?
It's like it's like between the two parks, and there's like there's two
Oh,
sides
you
of
moved
the
on to a
house.
different one. I get you. I'm sorry. I was still
There's
talking.
like.
Oh, that's the Schmidt property.
That's the Cochran house.
That's the Cochran house.
Do we own that yet?
No.
No, we
No,
never even
no, that's-
completed that.
That's the one that Mike goes ape spot on.
Yeah. We don't own that.
He keeps calling the Cochran property, it's not the Cochran property, it's the Maggie Schmidt property. She's the one who owns it,
Yeah.
she's passed away. Cochran lived there, he squatted. And so there was an issue of ownership because of squatting rights.
Okay.
And he actually came to council one time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they haven't paid the taxes there since 1999.
Something silly like that.
It's been over 25 years. They
And
haven't.
we
paid
had tried to
the
get Kent to process that.
Mm-hmm.
The county, basically won't help. There's a bunch of paperwork we have to do to acquire it, but basically the city should be able to acquire it for nothing.
Yeah, if somebody
Other than the
doesn't pay
legal
the
fees.
taxes, would we have to pay the taxes on it in order to acquire it?
Yeah, yeah.
No, there's a way not to do it.
Okay.
There's a way, but it's a legal process.
Mhm.
It's not something that happens right away, but Kent would never do the work, and Mike always got upset with him. He's like, hey, why have we not done this work? There's a process. Dorothy and I did some investigating on that as well, because I got tired of talking about it.
I complained to the appraisal district about that house about 3 weeks ago, and I got the number of the attorney that covers properties that they haven't paid the taxes on. So I was gonna call her about that.
Is that attorney with the?
It's with the Caldwell County Appraisal District.
Yeah, they have people who buy those properties, like developers who buy those properties and just pay the tax.
Well, that house that we're speaking of is completely in the floodway,
Mhm.
so you couldn't really do anything with it. It would be a perfect place for the city to buy.
Mhm.
Okay, so, Sam, let's talk more about that, after you talk to the attorney and find out.
Oh, the Cochran property, okay.
Yeah, or Schmidt, or
I thought
whoever.
it was Schmidt.
Maggie Schmidt, yes.
Don't call the Cochran property.
Okay, and so then what's next? Acquire and distribute NOAA weather radios. I don't know whether that's important to us or not. Anyone? Opinion?
I mean, it sounds
I mean, we
important.
have the siren now, I kind of, you know,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true too.
I think their
How
phones.
much do they cost? How much?
Well, your phones will do it all now.
They're inexpensive. I don't think that we should have to, acquire and buy them to give them out to people. We already have a plan in place
Okay.
to here locally, but if we can add that, like I said, we talked about it. And when we finish the rental
Ordinance.
ordinance,
Yeah.
add that to that and then require them to have them.
Something.
So in the short-term rental, the Airbnbs have that as part of their, it's required in order for them to actually have an
It's not
Airbnb?
required now, no.
No, but I mean, you're saying that you want it to be
I
required.
would like for it to be required just because of the people that we get coming here and knowing the cell service here
Mhm.
that we have.
And these people are ignorant of the whole, flooding situation. I mean, that's a lot of what happened up in the hill country last July was
Yes.
you had people visiting that were just blatantly ignorant of that particular area and how it floods. And every area floods differently.
Mhm.
That was a very
And
flash flood. I mean, it's we usually know in advance here.
Right.
We get some advance notice different, but it just you don't know. I think it's a great way to protect. We don't. The worst thing we can do, I always say, for the tubers, they have someone pass away every year or so in the tuber, and I'm like, we don't want that publicity. We can help it.
No.
So, well, maybe we wouldn't have as many tubers. Just kidding. So,
It doesn't seem to stop it.
so do we want to then cancel that because we're not planning to use it as a goal for funding, or leave it?
I'm okay canceling it.
if it hasn't already happened, I would be very, very surprised because of was this in 2015 where the family that was staying in Wimberley were on the deck and
That was, yeah.
that all of those Airbnbs are probably.
That's not Airbnbs. That was just in general.
No, this is in general, Dorothy. We
Oh,
don't.
I'm sorry.
The Airbnb thing that he was talking about.
So we don't have to
that's
include it in
separate.
this. Yeah, we don't have to include it in
Sorry.
this.
I don't think that we need to
No.
acquire them to have them here. They're
Okay.
inexpensive and most people here I can't think of anybody that's, we can do some safety stuff if there's people that we know that can't afford it.
Mm.
But they're inexpensive and I don't think spending $15,000 or having $15,000 earmarked for those, that's quite a bit. That's a
Okay.
lot, that's for, you can buy probably 3 for ever people in this, they're only $15 a piece.
I remember we used to go to Radio Shack and buy a little weather
Yeah.
radio, in the Radio Shack.
Transistor radio.
Yeah.
Laura, another thing too, that's real. I'm sorry, Dorothy.
No,
That ICC that's very, that we do very well here in Martindale is checking on your neighbors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
do, I mean, we're like, we know that,
Mhm.
with my mom. But many people came and like, we need to get you out of your house because it's coming out, not that you're gonna flood, you're gonna get stuck there
Absolutely.
and they're not gonna be able to get you. So, I think we're all as a community pretty good at that,
Mhm.
Yes, I agree.
so.
New action, acquire floodgates in high flood areas. Phase 1 was conduct a study of the high flood roadways or culverts that are in need of automatic floodgates, and then begin floodgate installation. So the ones we did are not automatic. And I don't know how that one is different right now but look, it says ask Gabe.
Right. Cause
I
guess we were confused. Or we couldn't give appropriate input on
We just did it on our own and we
Yeah.
put these in. You're right, they're not automatic, but,
Who's
I
Gary?
would- he's the guy that's coordinating
Oh.
all of the planning. So I guess take that one down because it pretty well I mean, it overlaps with the one we did where they're not automatic. Next one, abate erosion at public river access points, Skull Crossing, Allen Bates Park, and Nancy Martindale. There's a little typo there. Nancy Martindale Park. And that was, expansive soils. We didn't do this, y'all. We were not the ones typing. Expansive soils, erosion and flood. And then,
So this is, the way I interpret it is that this is actually doing the steps down, particularly at Allen Bates.
yep.
And then, and what Dorothy and I had sent, brought a picture about the erosion and what is now Nancy Martindale Park. Down at the river is having proper entries into the river that won't, keep causing erosion like
Yep.
the way it is right now.
Absolutely.
And
Well,
so
just look at that one.
I'm all for that. I mean,
So
love to do some more on that.
John Welsh gave us a packet that provides us with 12 different erosion abatement plans or systems or approaches or whatever that will all qualify for that funding through FEMA. So if we qualify is wrong. So if we want to do that as funding, we can use FEMA funding to do that. We just have to pick one of the 12 ways, and then it does everything right down to like the cost analysis of them. Oh, and disaster recovery is also.
So can we give that assignment to the river committee would that be their appropriate?
That would be fine if they want to do that. That would be fine. We right now it is with the Parks Department asked Freeland and Turk to review them, the 12, and figure out.
Okay, well the park's gonna do it.
Well, when we had when we had the last River Park meeting, we're having on Monday. It was, the erosion was, a topic,
Mhm.
and it was almost like, who does that fall under?
Mhm.
Because, but it's a community thing, so it does need to be, and we've already talked. We know that it's different, so I would say give it to the person.
I don't think it matters. I mean, it's really the engineers that are doing it, right? So they're the ones that are reviewing the 12. The parks had the engineers come to a meeting and do an analysis of ADA for the 2 parks, and at the same time also look at the erosion problem. And so they already came out and did a study and did photographs and all of that kind of stuff.
So that study's already been returned to the parks. Awesome.
Yeah, and then in response to that, we gave the engineer the packet from FEMA and said, these are the ones, any of these can be funded. So which of these look like they're the most appropriate for the type of erosion and the type of entry ways that we need in each park. So they're evaluating those.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a start.
Then, let's see, create conservation easements to reduce flooding along publicly owned property on the river. And that was from the river committee. They had requested that wording. Phase 1, look into enforcement options for easements, and phase 2, implement or pass an ordinance that easement land must be kept undeveloped. And under, is it possible? That's because we don't really know legally if we can do that. I mean, we can do that for city property, but most of the property along the river is not city property.
Mm-hmm.
New action generator install for the city hall and police department. That was an earlier version of what we were talking about with the chief. Then go down to the next one. That one, new action. supplement and add outdoor warning sirens at the Southeast River Road 1979 intersection and one at Northwest River Road and Highway 80. Yeah, so they've just released the new guidance for getting funding through, the Texas Water Development Board. So I am registered for a webinar to explain what we need to do that. We are in one of the designated counties that are eligible to apply for them. So we will apply for two, and if we get one, great. If we get both of them, great. But it would just extend the range of the sirens a little further.
I talked to Hector Rangel a couple of days ago, and he had mentioned that Greg went to the LEPG, whatever the meeting was, and he said that he's looking into getting one more siren for 1979 there, and Prairie Lee and Fentress. So he's actively trying to get another siren for 1979. He said on the south side of town. He said that when the siren goes off, it generally has a 3 mile range. But if the wind is blowing in a different direction, then you typically don't hear it as well. I asked.
We actually figured out that that's not entirely accurate. That
Okay.
is what we kept hearing too, but that's not really accurate. It's about 1.5 miles each, but we have two, so it
Makes 3 miles.
about 3 miles.
Okay.
But each one is really only going about 1.5 miles. So
Okay.
if you think about it that way, and then the wind is blowing a different direction, it's even
Less.
smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Well, so did they ever figure out what was wrong? Why the one that was over by my neighborhood didn't go off?
it did the second time.
Yeah, the second time, but I wonder.
Yeah,
Yes, I figured out what happened. I contacted the company, so on our last test, when we test them, I've been going to the exact same spot every single time and setting it off with the radio. And evidently this time, I learned that radio is what sets them off. It don't communicate with that one could set off that one. Okay, so, it communicates with this one radio. And he said I need to move more in between the two of them to set them off, so basically it was probably my doing. But,
I don't think so, because I just think it was a random fluke, because it's happened every other time and it's always set them both off.
Yes.
But it is really good to know.
well, and we figured that out, so they're not defective or anything like that, they're working properly. And he gave us a solution to, make that where it won't happen in the future, and that's maybe something, I don't know if that would be a new action for this. He suggested if we got, instead of using that small handheld we have, to put it in our car, put a radio in each one of our cars, and then we could set it off. And it's got more bandwidth,
Mhm.
and it can set it off from miles away.
Okay.
That's actually we could put that on there.
Yeah, so I was thinking when up for money for that, we could
Mm-hmm.
put that, add that in there, cause I think he told me they were about $700 a piece
Mhm.
installed.
Mhm.
So that's not bad, we got two, possibly three if we get another car, but, that would be a good thing, and I was talking to the mayor about this. Whenever we had the, straight line winds that came through recently, we had trees down in the road and I was here, I didn't have that radio with me, and I'm thinking, if they're telling me a tornado's coming.
And you don't have the
I need to set this
radio.
off. And then I had a tree down, I had to just leave the tree and come get the radio just in case. But if we had it in our car, we could set them off.
From AD while you're
From
waiting
AD,
for Tech Stop to come move the tree.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would be beneficial for us to spend that money.
Mhm. Yeah, let's add that one in. Add, car, what is it, remote control
Yeah, car remote for the sirens.
for the sirens.
And if we get other sirens, we wouldn't have an issue because it would reach all of everything.
It would have bandwidth big enough.
Correct.
Do you wanna put that?
Yeah.
If multiple sirens, we wouldn't,
Have an issue setting them off.
We can go back and fix
I
that.
mean, I worried about it when it did go off. I was thinking, oh my gosh, this was defective now all of a sudden, but we got through that and found out immediately. I called the people that are charging or set them up,
Mhm.
the owners, and they were real good about explaining what happened. And when I went and set it off the second time, actually it set off both of them the second time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that made me so glad that we are doing monthly tests so that you know right away if there's something that you need to figure out.
Mhm.
Okay, then replace pavement and parking lot with permeable pavement at Allen Bates, Nancy Martindale, and Phase Two Park. Did we say that?
I think we did.
We did. We're
Um,
smart, aren't we? They gave us a cheat sheet toward the end. And so some of these came from that. So that was one of them, was for better drainage. And, then the next one is the solar lighting. Oh, yeah. Solar lighting for Main Street and Northwest River Road where the odds are higher that how come that keeps happening? Every time you stand up, it turns off, it blacks off. It must be the wire thing. Anyhow, but I mean, it comes right back on, I'm not saying. So, yeah, then we kind of had this debate about would solar lights help? It was one of the suggestions. Because we would have a higher likelihood of needing to evacuate along Northwest River Road and Main Street. And if the power is out, solar lights would stay on. And so then blah, blah, blah. And they would be at a rate of one every 60 feet. I don't have any idea whether,
Every 60 feet.
yes, that was what the recommended range was by FEMA or whoever gave us
How
the recommendation.
far is 60 feet?
My yard is 240 feet wide. So that would be 4 on my property alone.
I have no idea. Well, I don't know what the wattage is or what the.
Is it again?
Misses you when you leave.
They're, yeah, they're, yeah.
I mean, I understand.
No. Whatever it is, they're dark sky compliant solar lights. And that's why I'm thinking it's every 60 feet is because they are very dim. So they probably only shine directly in front of where they are, but it doesn't have to, I mean, like I said, we're the only ones that are accountable for whether or not we reachable. If we decide 60 feet is too close, we just change it to 500 feet or whatever we want it to be, it doesn't matter. Or just put down solar lights and leave the feet off. We can decide that later.
Leave the feet on.
Are the solar panels installed on like telephone poles or how?
They're on like.
Yeah, it's like you stick it in the ground and then it has the little solar panel.
Yeah, I see.
The question is, what you're asking is, would be allowed to use the Blue Bond's poles.
Yeah.
You'd have to talk to Blue Bond. I don't think so. I mean,
No, we wouldn't.
we'd have
We
to
wouldn't
do our own
plan
poles.
on using the poles.
Yeah, we'd have
They
to,
come for municipalities, they come as a one, like as
as
a
a
whole.
kit.
Yes,
Mhm.
and where it has the pole and the light together. So one question that somebody had about that was, if the power is off, would the solar panels still function or not?
If they're charged.
I would think so, but then,
It depends on the panel. I mean, it depends on.
Yeah, the strength.
I
of
have
it.
one on my flag, in the front of the house, and
Mm-hmm.
it goes off. It'll stay on for about 6 to 8 hours.
Mhm.
if you're in a hurricane or in a massive flood situation, which maybe just nothing's gonna help in that event, like you're just gonna be without power and it's gonna suck. But if you were, wouldn't it be pretty overcast for more than one day where
Great.
it may not,
Well, what about them just being reflective? I mean, would that help?
I don't know.
Because if people are trying to evacuate, their lights would be on. I don't know, maybe that's a dumb question, but. So like if they don't charge because it's been raining and it's cloudy, I think they still charge, just not as well.
Mm.
I don't think they last as long.
So we may wanna do some more thinking about that one. I guess, worst case scenario, you can always just not do it and then do, no progress, drop it off of our plan for next year if we decide not to do. I don't know that I know enough. We would need to actually talk to some lighting companies and find out more, I think, about
Whether or not they
using
would,
them
yeah.
in a storm situation. They were on the FEMA list of options, of example goals for this kind of plan.
Mhm.
But there wasn't any details that would really help you understand it better. So what do you guys think about the permeable pavement and solar lighting? Those were both more green options.
It sounds like a good idea if it would work. Like you said, if it's really cloudy and there's bad weather for 3 days, would they charge?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Permeable payments, I don't understand those.
Permeable pavement, I don't,
No, the permanent payments is great.
Yeah.
Okay,
Great idea.
okay.
Yeah, the lighting, I'm just,
Hmm.
no.
yeah, it doesn't seem like it would be very,
Is it useful? I mean,
It would be useful if there's no lighting and we have to evacuate.
okay, so, but what happens now, what we do is we have emergency vehicles and people with big lights,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how people evacuate.
Mhm.
So I mean, I think we do need to talk, I mean, I'm not saying just take it off, but I just don't know how.
No, I mean, we can take it off. These are just suggestions. That's why we have a workshop.
I'm big, as you know, on the permeable, putting in any type of removing impervious covers, to me, is one of the most important things, I really like the fact that you guys put the park stuff in there, the access to the park and that kind of stuff, and erosion controls, really good. But anything we can do to set the standard that we have championed in this town about making people have a higher standard for impervious cover restrictions. We create our own, we talk the talk, we're walking the walk, so we have the highest standard in the whole area from impervious cover, and it's, we've got to maintain that same level of thought process on our property if we can. So.
Okay.
And our roads have a lot of potholes, so they're
They're very
Impervious. They're pervious?
important.
they're pervious.
They're pervious. They're
very
really
important.
pervious.
pervy, they're pervy.
Yes, they are.
They're
That too.
pervious.
I have taken to explaining our situation with the roads in Martindale that, people will drive down the roads in Martindale and their children, they'll hit one of the potholes, the children bounce out of the backseat, and they're never heard from again.
Well, if you would tell you that story, Dorothy and I have picked up glass on Northeast River Road now, because I had seen a commercial glass guy cutting through Skull.
Oh, no.
And 2 weeks in a row, we've got to the point we brought a vacuum with us to pick up glass. There was a mirror, and I'm telling you, it was the size of the table that had to break because he was carried in the back.
Oh,
It was right by Sonia's on the one, and then it was the Harrison by the other, and we literally were vacuuming to the ground.
Wish you had known who it was, because we should have contacted them as a city and said, y'all are responsible to come.
All I know is I had seen a guy when I was walking the dog, and then like a week later, that weekend, we were doing
Well, they might not have even known that it happened. They might have just been driving. They didn't realize it.
If they still did it, they still should.
Right, they should.
Clean it up, because that's just.
Yeah, because when they get back to the store or whatever, they would know that it's all broken. So,
but it was right there between the Harrisons and where Sonia's living there.
Okay, so is that the end of that? Okay, good. Phew, all right, hit save. So are there other actions that we did not discuss? All we did was go through the drafts. So are there any that we did not discuss that you want to see on there? Things that we just didn't even consider?
How far have we gone on the alert on our phone to have people get an alert if there's a flood or something? I mean, you had mentioned that where.
I get the Caldwell County ones.
Yeah, there's the red.
Warren, Central Texas, and we put those out for people to.
And those, Warren Central Texas includes a particular one for Martindale.
Okay.
One thing I was thinking about, this might be, is somehow to reach out to all citizens.
Mhm.
At least kind of and really talk to them, you know, do you have an idea to what to do?
So we did that, we went door to door.
Y'all did, okay.
We didn't go to y'all's house.
Okay, no.
But we went door to
Okay.
door and made sure we had updated stuff, made sure we had that numbers for reverse 911 and things like that. There's probably some people we missed, and then you go back and look at that, but we did do that.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking, it's just a.
Were you able to go on where it's primarily Spanish speaking on that?
We stuck to the road in the flood area closest to the river that we would have to address. Most of those folks on 1979.
It doesn't flood as bad there.
No.
It floods on the backside, right, on Bacchus and around there from the creek.
Yes, and we spoke to the lady right there at Crockett and
Bannon, yeah,
we spoke to them there.
okay. Okay.
I would still like, we talked about, we went to a training on messaging for emergency situations, and one of the things that we looked at was the systems that will call, but actually.
Reverse 911.
Not just that, but, what was pause?
Oh, yes.
Yes, where they'll call and send a text message. Like, we only have, out of 1,200 people in the city, we have only 57 people who are signed up for the news flashes, and that does not even include all of council or Greg.
Well, I never get them. I had Deanna go back and check mine. It was all, we tried refreshing it. I was signed in. I never got any of those. I've never gotten any.
But
So I
I'm just saying,
redid it.
the people who are signed up, there's only 57 people signed up.
Mhm.
So regardless of whether you're receiving it or not, if you sign up, there's only 57 people. So
Yeah,
that's almost 0 people.
yeah, I
who
signed up
receive
and I still
any
don't get 'em.
notifications from the city whatsoever. I had Donna go through at least the utilities subscribers, to find out how many people we have a phone number and an email address for, and then how many people we don't have an email address for. Don't anyone panic, we cannot sign you up for Newsflash without your permission. It'll send a confirmation email, you have to confirm it. So we're not trying to do that. I just wanted to make sure, how many people can we not reach in the event that we have a really important emergency situation to let people know about as a city?
Mhm.
So we can rely on that reverse 911, thank heavens, but in terms of like citywide and not just the evacuation zone right here, we can barely reach anyone. And we did look at some systems that would allow us to provide a phone call, because there are a lot of older folks that don't use email and they don't go on the website. So then how do you reach them? And we need something that's another way to reach people. But again, you have to have them consent to being contacted like that, you know? Reverse 911, thankfully, you don't have to consent. They can just do it.
Well, one of the things with the blast and things like that is like, they don't want all of that stuff. They
Mhm.
probably do, you know, there are people that want to have the emergency information.
But they
That's
don't.
what I like about Warren Central Texas, it actually tells you, it says, hey, respond to this, because they call you and text you and ask you to respond that you got the message, so it lets them know that, hey, it's.
It's working, yeah.
So, yeah, I wouldn't mind, some kind of a goal
Hmm.
to develop
A
An
system to
emergen-
reach more people?
yes, that. And I don't know exactly how to go about doing that, except door to door,
Mhm.
through the entire city, because you'd have to go to every single
I
person's
think
door.
we should so far down the road, but we could probably, and I did it in the past, and I sort of let it go because no one was really participating in the, National Night Out.
Mhm.
Maybe we can use that and try to develop a bigger national night out and invite more people and have that sign up here. and try to do that. Or at least do it community-wide, have, this community, that community, and set up and people there, we can go around, the police department can go around to these. different
Neighborhoods.
events, Neighborhood events,
Mhm.
instead of having one major event, maybe we can, get people in their particular areas to have a national night out, and then we can go there and collect that data
Mhm.
or the information.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
Is that
'cause
the
if you're
first
not on
week
the
in
Facebook
October?
Discussion group, if you're not on Facebook discussion group and you don't sign up for the news flash, there's really no way to reach people
right.
at all. So,
I think we can, that far down the road, but it's the only thing I can think of, it would be
Yeah.
a community type event that we could,
mhm.
do that.
Yeah, cause just trying to even get them, like, let's say we did make an emergency only list. Like, you still have to get people to sign up for it. So
Mhm.
how do you tell them it's there without going door to door?
That's good, Mark.
So, yeah, that's the question, but if you do think of anything else, I think we still have another like 3 weeks until our next, planning meeting for this thing. So, or if we come up with something later, like I said, you're allowed to go back and amend it later and
Put the
add something later.
instructions to, sign up on in the, mailers for the.
That's what I was gonna say.
Utilities. Yeah, we can, but unfortunately, we're even considering getting rid of those mailers
Okay.
because now that it is,
Automatic.
automatic payment, the majority of people under 50 don't open it. Because they know it's gonna come out anyways. Older folks that are used to having a paper bill, they do. And there are still some people that come in and pay a paper bill, and that's fine. But the majority of people don't, and with stamps being 75 cents each now, every single month, that's like a lot. So, we are kind of
Is there a
considering
way to
that.
like how people opt in and opt out of the mailer?
Yeah, Donna was asking people that came in person to mail it. And then I've heard her ask people on the phone as well. Do you have an email address that we could just start sending it electronically to you? And would you be interested in just paying $1 to get it mailed to you so that you're paying for your own stamp? We'll just add like a fee onto your thing to get the paper bill. That way it zeroes out for the city to mail it. Because so few people actually use their bill.
But you also don't even reach the entire
Right.
customer list because if you're on automatic payments, you just don't get a bill because we draft you before the bill goes out.
I still get a bill and I still open it, so I must be old, but I still open
You
it.
are, I said under 50.
Okay, let's just not blast that out there, everyone.
Mayor, do we require the, utility bill to do citywide cleanup?
No, I don't think so. Do we?
did.
Do we require them to bring a bill, a paper bill?
We bring the customer list just to make sure that they're by city limits, but we don't require them,
Okay.
but their driver's licenses good enough. Yeah.
So when we know that it's, say, flooding in Wimberley or Blanco, and we know sometimes because if it rains a lot one day and then it pauses the day and then it rains the next day, we sort of know that. But how do you interface with, say, Wimberley or Blanco and some of the authorities there? How do we know as the flood moves downstream? How do we know that, and how do you know it, and then how do we know it as citizens?
So I was monitoring every kind of notification we could. I was speaking of the tornadoes, not over, that's all we had. So I was monitoring everything, and as soon as they would put out a warning, I was contacting those agencies by phone, saying like San Marcos, for example. Hey, do you have this? Is there water rising? Or in that case, hey, is there a tornado touchdown in San Marcos? And so then when they were telling me, hey, they have straight line winds, no tornado touchdown. I was like, okay, that makes me feel better, but straight line winds are just as bad. Do I set off the alarm to notify everybody that straight line winds or what we talked about that? Hey, when do I set that thing off? And then, but the straight line winds went more towards Euland and they were getting it worse than we were, even though we had trees coming down. It wasn't as bad here. But I was to answer your question, I was communicating with the other agencies, and I'll do the same thing with other agencies upstream. So mainly, I just gotta communicate with Hayes County Sheriff's Office or San Marcos Police Department. They'll know if the Blanco River or the San Marcos River is flooding and it's coming our way.
And then that's when you decide to turn the sirens on or
Well, I'll
off.
communicate and we'll, with everyone, we'll set it off.
Okay.
We were talking about it, don't know if we wanna continue with the tornado type warning. Because I don't wanna confuse anyone and have someone run outside. They sound so similar.
Mhm.
I would just hate for someone in a storm event to run outside and it's a tornado versus a flood. I think probably we should just stick with just the flood siren, my personal opinion.
Yeah, because I was looking up the KXAN Martindale story one day about the slave cemetery. And recently they have like a 50-second video or of the sound of the tornado siren and the flood siren. And it said, do these sound alike to you or something? And so that happened recently.
Well, they recorded, I can't remember when they came and recorded it.
I was trying to remember too, it was still hot,
Yeah.
so last
Yeah.
week.
Right?
No, they.
Yesterday?
They came and did a story and
It was a couple months ago.
Okay.
Holidays.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't remember when, but I think.
Maybe October, it was after Kerrville, but I don't remember when.
Yeah, they came and did it, and we sent it off to them and let them hear both of them. And they sent us the snippets and we were gonna put them on.
On the website,
On
so
the
that people
website.
could play them,
Mhm.
But they're really similar.
I don't think it matters as much as like that we're expecting a storm.
Mhm.
And you hear the siren, you know that whatever storm you were expecting is probably happening.
Yeah, yeah, so you.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to do one for a flood because you need to get out.
Yeah,
But if there's a tornado and you go running out, could get twisted into a storm. But anyway, so you're saying just do the one and just have it for a flood, and that way people don't have to distinguish between
yeah,
what the sound is for.
Yeah, cause I mean, like, in the Midwest where they have the tornado sirens, they really don't have flood sirens.
Yeah.
So they're using theirs basically solely for the tornadoes. So,
Well, going back to notifying people, this may be really dumb and we've already established that I'm old. So this is how we used to spread information. Old school is like,
telephone.
well, but I mean, if we don't know people's numbers and we don't have, or we do, but we don't have permission to call them, then like if you want them to sign up for something, can we put little flyers like at restaurants or at the church or at, or even at the tax office when they go to or at the library? And I know y'all do some of that too, but maybe different-
more of it or differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other idea that one of the residents, she's older than you, but one of the residents had a very good idea to go back to the old fashioned telephone tree by neighborhood. Cause like the people in your neighborhood almost all know each other, right?
Well, we have the Hobson Ranch,
Oh, you have a Facebook page now or something. don't
yeah,
you?
Hobson Ranch has a Facebook page they've had for a long time. Yeah.
And so does someone over there. But yeah, this woman was saying we should go back to the old fashioned telephone tree where like we have a team captain in the neighborhood who, if you're in Hobson or Butterfly and you want to be on that emergency call list, you sign up with Terry or not really.
Okay.
And that way then you start the list and have it divided up so that everyone gets a phone call. And it's done by neighborhood where it's more manageable than we need to call all 1,200 people that have phone.
And there's one, have you heard of next door?
Yes.
So next door works and the city can have a next door access that and we can push out information off of
On
that.
next door. You just have to have people on it.
And what
Yeah, cause
about TV?
like the emergency broadcasting system. Yeah, they don't even do that anymore, do they? They do? Maybe I don't watch TV that much.
Specifically for this area, you know? What is it?
The problem
KXAN
is,
or whatever?
ours all comes from Austin or some San Antonio.
Yeah, but can't we let them know that we need to put an emergency notice in?
I don't know if they would,
I don't know if they could do it for us. We could ask. No harm in asking.
So during the cold spell, we did, as we saw on the cold warming centers, about go to Three Rivers. And could you just briefly go over what that was about and how
How did it
you-
work?
How did it work? Or because I mean, I live right by there and I kept thinking there would be people there because it's so cold, but then it was always closed down. But then you said that you had your number there and nobody notified you anyway.
so
So,
that's what we did. So we worked with the county and the county put out, those warming centers throughout the county. They asked me for ours and ours was Three Rivers Church. We got permission to go there. So we had to keep, we were here 24/7,
Mhm.
running here. And so if someone were to call that number, we would go and open up the Three Rivers Church. So they had an emergency number, you call emergency, their, Caldwell County's emergency number, and they would say, hey, I need something. I need to go to a warming center. So, but it was possibly gonna just happen if someone's power went out. We didn't man it, we didn't man it the entire time. We were here at the office and we'd go out and patrol around and make sure the roads were good.
was that the actual church itself or the kitchen area?
Area where they're like doing voting now, that's the area we have access to.
Okay, and that's a fairly large room. It's got bathrooms
Yes.
and it's got a kitchen there.
Correct.
Okay, and so that would be the temporary place until they would, well, unless 80 is flooded going to Luling, or cold, or well, I don't know, icy, right? Flooded or icy. So that's do many people know that Luling is the official place to go then?
It's not open yet, so they don't.
Oh, they're building it now,
Yes.
right, okay.
So what our hope is, and knock on wood, hopefully we never have to use this, but what our goal is to have someone come here, check in with us. We know that Sam checked out his house. Sam is no longer in his house. He's got a house that we have to worry about.
Mhm.
We check you off a list. Now, if you choose to go to your land in San Antonio,
Mm,
you checked in with us and you're no longer there at our shelter.
you tell somebody.
Right, and then you let us know where you're at. Now, after enough people, if people come there and they don't have a place to go, they don't have a relative, they don't have no place to go, that's when we'll work on getting them to another shelter for long term, because we do not have showers there, a shower facility, and that, we've got restroom and kitchen. So it is gonna be just a temporary type, place, plus it's a place that we can check off and make sure that once we get our plan all in place, everyone will evacuate their house, come to one central location and then disperse or stay there until they need to get evacuated. We'll have a place to park cars and move people, and we'll figure out how to get them from point A to point B.
So the Baptist church on 142 is not participating in this anymore.
No, I'm not saying we're not, I'm saying we haven't been able to establish this, a working relationship that we could say, hey, we're gonna use it, we would use this place, or they'd allow us to use that.
And we also had several people complain that water crossed over, like on 142 before you get to the church.
Mm,
So people leaving here.
Yeah, there is a creek crossing there.
yeah, there is
Yeah.
that little creek, yeah, right there where that little
With
bridge is.
this church, we wouldn't have that issue.
Yes.
Because it's just right down here and it's the closest spot to the houses that are most likely to be evacuated, which are the ones along Northwest River Road.
And if we get the generator, we do what,
Mhm.
good plan, we would have the, meeting center right down here to do the exact same thing. And then we'd be
And
generating.
it would be our own property, well, it
Yes.
would be the downtown property, we wouldn't have to worry about like whether or not the church was available and all of that stuff.
So it seems like with the list that we've gone through about what we've completed and all that, it seems like we should almost narrow it down and see what components of that would apply to a grant that we would like to receive, because we do have a fairly large wish list, you know, because we.
Can I add to the wish list?
Yeah,
Why are we not trying to acquire that property?
which
Which one?
property?
The rest of this building?
Oh, that's fine.
I mean, if we want to,
They're not interested in.
well, I'm just saying,
selling
if
right
it's
now.
not that one, why not have a wish list that says we would love a grant, we could buy something where we in maybe even move the city office or have another, we talked about acquiring another building either in this area that the city would have, and not be reliant on
Somebody else.
somebody else. I mean, ideally, we would want our own facility to do that. I mean, ideally, it's silly to have it without having an interlocal agreement, I mean, it makes more sense to do it, but.
Well,
I
and
mean-
the police would be housed in the same or close by and they wouldn't have to.
I'm just throwing it out there,
Oh, there's
That's sort of what I was leaning towards, is prioritizing our wish list
I mean,
here.
there's other places that the city could probably move offices to. I mean, I don't know, the big building.
My house.
Yeah, your house. There's that regular shack there.
That
No,
sounds
like,
good.
The daycare center that's in Hobson Ranch,
Mhm.
right? I don't know if those people wanna sell or whatnot, but it may be something in the future to look at.
Kind of smells like a diaper in there.
That's a pretty good sized building and it's got a lot of stuff in it.
No, it's huge.
Red Barn. Red
It-
Barn's available.
Yep, it's closed down,
Uh-oh.
We
so,
could move in there.
And they-
The police department could be in back.
They closed?
yeah, it's closed down.
Aww,
Locks are changed, it's closed down,
that's awful.
yeah.
So maybe, yeah, I do not know whether that,
I think that's a
property.
far-fetched.
well, I don't think it's
No.
far-fetched, I just don't know that it goes on this list,
Fair
but
enough.
it could be it could still be part of the strategic plan to acquire additional property for the city offices and police department.
And the worst case scenario, just, get an agreement with the owner, the current owner.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, you're smart. I mean, that's absolutely brilliant. I mean, that's the easiest way we're right here. You
Mhm.
don't have to be worried about traipsing, back and forth. I totally agree with you. Ideally, if we could, I'd like to buy the property if we could, but I
Well,
understand it's his and he doesn't wanna sell it, as
Well-
long as he's able to work with us.
and the daycare lady, she's really open to like, allowing people to come and use that space. So I wonder if they would be willing to do like a warming center like the church does, or would that be too far away for us to really
No.
monitor?
It wouldn't be too far away, and it just,
Or is it a bad area for flooding?
No, it's just, no, it's not.
It doesn't flood between
We
here.
would have to just figure out a way, it would disrupt them. if that
Gotcha.
makes sense.
Mhm.
'Cause
they have kids.
And we'd have to move a lot of stuff to
Yeah.
make it where it'd be usable for that short term.
Well, I know they have bathrooms, but some of them the stalls are only this tall because they're
Well.
from.
So then, Greg, we gotta get out of here, it's late, but would you give
What is on
a
me?
quick 5 or 10 minute overview of the new planning committee that just met this week that you went to, that maybe you might be gonna take a leadership role in?
So I went to it was held in Lockhart. And the lady's name, she works for the county, and it was held in Lockhart, and that was the inaugural meeting of the Caldwell County Emergency Preparedness Coalition. Every county in the state of Texas has to have one, so this was their first one, and, it was informative. I asked to be, and she would let me know that they're gonna go through the list or however many people submit interest into being on the board, so I have to be vice chairman there. And so, like I said, it was very informative. They're gonna try to do starting out quarterly meetings, and then they'll probably go to annual. They're not, after everything's set up and done, then, it's not that, won't require too much time at all on my part, assuming if I'm vice chairman. That's
So do
Joanne.
you have any sense of, so like this committee that we just did the goals for, that committee does a 5-year plan. It's for all of Caldwell County. It does a 5-year at a time plan for our goals to be prepared for mitigation for emergency situations. And then, do you have any idea how that committee is separate from this committee?
not yet.
What's the
Like I
name of
said, they've never met before, so,
Use the
It's
brand new.
Caldwell County, what was the name of the group?
Local,
Caldwell County Emergency Preparedness Coalition.
yes.
Thank you.
Wasn't it like LIPA or LE?
Yeah, it's got an L at the beginning, 'cause
It's-
it's local emergency management preparation or
It's the
something.
LEPC.
Yes, there you go.
LEPC.
Yeah.
LEPC, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm guessing, I do not know this for
Thank you.
certain, but what I'm guessing is that that group is going to be a more procedure-based group. This group is like all of us making local plans to work towards, right? But so it's like a planning in that sense. I think the group you're talking about is things like communications among the various emergency responder people, like us and fire and police, and how do we get the cops and how do we do that thing? Because that was the piece that seemed to be missing. I have spoken to a couple of previous mayors now about how, like, what do they need to have ready in the event of an emergency so that our immediate emergency team of volunteers can be working on that. And part of it is things like figuring out, is there a place for people to access computers and be able to fill in applications for FEMA or notify family or whatever needs to be done. And then I know like Mayor Davini had talked about how enormous all of the donations were and the difficulty of storing them, like clothing and whatnot, in places that could stay clean and organized, where people can come and figure out if they need clothing or if they need sheets or towels or whatever. And then Randy was talking about having places for things like the giant trucks that just kind of unfold and have washing machines and dryers and access to those types of things. And then dispersing water and food and whatever. So those are the kinds of minutia. Like we were trying to figure out the people that are going to be on the emergency right now response team with Chief. We were trying to figure out, like, does Martindale need to have a certain number of cots to put in the church or wherever we're going to be using? Are we supposed to have those? Are we just supposed to have a relationship with someone like United Way or Red Cross that will come in and do those things for us? And if we need cots, how many do you need? How many would we expect are people that are gonna stay here versus people that will go to family or friends?
Well, and isn't there a fire and safety code that says how many people can fit in a?
Of course, yes, absolutely. And then we did a training with the fire department and the police department and the library and us. It was a webinar on helping to evacuate people with disabilities and having them be at a location. And then we started thinking, how many people is that? How many do we have that are elderly that would need assistance? How many people do we have that have kids that would need assistance? Or, you know, whatever the situation is. And how would you know that? Again, it might come down to having to walk door to door and ask people.
Yeah, we
So-
just have to evacuate nursing homes.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. So there are a lot of decisions to be made and plans to be preparing for. We just need to make sure that we're keeping as many people as possible involved in that process, because you can see it takes a lot of thinking.
I think it's a good idea to designate someone in each either neighborhood or on a certain street to be the person who you contact to say, I checked on this person and they're not okay, or, you know, and have it in a smaller area where one person could be in charge of that
Yeah.
in that neighborhood or on that street
Mhm.
or something like that. They could be the go-to person, and maybe there needs to be more than just one person in case
You
that
can-
person's not
You can have
available.
co-captains. Yeah, what
Yeah.
if somebody was out of town when that happened?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Were we gonna talk tonight too about the volunteer group and who's, because Joy had said that she couldn't come tonight and she wanted to be included in the volunteer list.
Then, if you will just tell her to email me and let me know,
Mhm.
and then, we'll make sure that we reach out to her on whichever training she needs.
Okay, and then were we gonna get?
And if anybody else runs across anyone that either wants to do the walk around and like check on our infrastructure, our critical infrastructure, to figure out what do we need to get ready,
Mhm.
or on that emergency, like in the spur of the moment when it's happening team.
And then was Tommy
Please tell
gonna
them to call.
inform us about the FEMA training and who's taken it or who hasn't, or
All of you, I haven't,
I know I haven't.
we haven't or have?
no way.
No,
I started it, but
I started it too, but then I fell asleep.
Can I say one more thing? Probably, because you said something a second ago, but if we were able to, another thing, if we were able to, generate this whole building and keep power on in this thing, we could work with the library, with something you said a minute ago, the library has a ton of computers over there that people can come
Yeah.
and communicate.
Yeah.
And we could work with them with the MOU and say, hey, if for us to have this generator here,
Mhm.
you know, you're getting generated, you're gonna have power all the time. So can we use your computers and stuff like that? Can your computer?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's just another,
What's an MOU? What's an MOU?
Memorandum of understanding. It's like a written agreement of like, you'll donate this and we'll donate this.
Oh, can't say I've ever heard that before.
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't.
It keeps people from squabbling later about like, well, you said you would do this, or, you know, whatever.
Well, I think tomorrow, at the wastewater treatment meeting workshop, we're gonna talk about an MOU tomorrow.
Mhm.
So you'll know
A
what,
memorandum of understanding.
you'll know what that means tomorrow. If you can come, are you gonna be here, try and come at 5 for the workshop?
I should be able to. I should be able to get here by 5.
Whenever you.
Any time during that, it doesn't have to be at 5 because we're going on
And it will be
until,
on Zoom too.
and we're
Okay.
going until 6:30, or is there a break?
No, I'm hoping we're done at 6, so people can get up and walk around and.
And then take a break before 6:30, okay,
6:30.
okay.
We'll just tell them, you're out.
Because it could be a little bit of a lengthy meeting because we haven't really,
We have a couple of different presentations that have kind of accumulated, so, yeah. Yes.
bring
so-
some energy bar. I'm gonna bring my normal cookies and drink, so if anybody else wants to bring something.
Well, thank you guys for waiting this whole entire time. I sure appreciate all of your input. This was very helpful, very, very helpful.
Was it?
Yeah. I hope
Well,
you feel like
good.
it was.
And we don't need to make a motion to adjourn this, correct?
No.
Not for a workshop. We did have to take minutes, but we don't have to do a formal motion or anything.
Just for minutes, workshop ended 8:43 PM.
Done.